and charged for a crime, yes, then the staff, goes on interdiction, will not be allowed to be at work during the period of the court proceedings. So, yeah, if it's a police matter, we'll put it to the police and they'll take it from there.
Let me ask you, Doc. Talk to me about the checks and balances that goes into background checks in terms of hiring people to deal with these children, because it's a very sensitive area, and not all and sundry should be able to just get up and work at the CPFSA. Right. How strict or stringent is the background check, the information, and antecedents of the person before hiring them?
Right. So we have always gone through a rigorous background checking process. Of course, the police records, references. We do some background, research on the individual. But we're improving that process. So one of the things that we've started to do now, all new recruits have to do a psychometric assessment prior to being made an offer. And in fact, we're even seeking to refine that process now. Because we want to ensure that we don't employ anybody with tendencies towards pedophilia, who hold some their value system doesn't align with ours. They come and they work in the system, but they believe that children should be beaten because folly is wrapped in the heart of a youth, and the rod of correction will drive it out. Those kind of things. So we're trying to improve on our background checking process. Right now, that's something that we're working on.
If, say, for example, there is somebody now listening who may want to volunteer, their time or their effort to the CPFSA, or even want to be hired by the CPFSA, are you recruiting now? Are you hiring now? And if somebody wants to volunteer, how do they go about doing that?
All right. So we have been recruiting for some positions. So you have seen some of those in the newspapers. You can't ask what the positions are right now.
Yes.
But if you follow the Sunday Green, I think over the past couple of months, we have been recruiting for some positions. Right now, we're trying to recruit at least 4 social workers, right? So that is out in the papers. If you want to volunteer, just send us an email. Send an email to info@childprotection.gov.jm. We have to go through a similar kind of background checking process. We have a due diligence policy that treats with how we engage with volunteers. There's a volunteer form and some other things that we have to do to ensure, again, that as a volunteer, your value system aligns with the agencies. As a volunteer, you don't have tendencies that are harmful to children. So once you want to volunteer, reach out, send an email, info@childprotection.gov.jm.
.jm. Again, let me hasten to say, I'm asking persons to refrain from calling the names of any parent, any child, any individual on this live. This live is about education and information, also understanding, so that we can be better adults for our children, so that they can be safe, that they can be protected, and that they can be loved. We're talking with Dr. Warren Thompson. He's the Director of Intake, Investigation, and Court at the CPFSA, the Child Protection and Family Services. Doc, in this day and age, in this dispensation...
I'm not hearing you again. I'm not sure what is I don't know if it's the internet connection, but the sound is
gone. The internet? Oh my God! Hello!
I'm not sure.
Now, all right, let's add again. So, oh my God. Just re-add. He's not hearing me. Guys, tell him to just click off and let me re-add again. Because I don't know. You hearing me? Hello, Doc, you hearing me? All right, make him settle off. And I told you, no, sir. Remember, I told you. All right, good. Let's see again. Doc, you're back? Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Beautiful, very well. Thank you so much. I was saying that in this dispensation, Doc, in which we now live, privacy seems to be far away from some professionals. In terms of protecting our children and their privacy, and that of their parents as well, as they're going through this very difficult period, what measures do you have in place at the CPFSA that children's information are not leaked, is not leaked. The parents, when they come to say visit the children, they're not recorded, they're not videoed. It is not leaving the compound, because at the end of the day, the protection of our children is of paramount importance. Workers sometimes film families secretly, film children secretly, and they put it out to the public, and that is egregious, and that is unconscionable and should not be happening. As part of the body at the CPFSA, what is done to ensure that the family's privacy is protected to the utmost?
Right. You know, I became aware of one of the scenarios you just described recently. So we're doing our investigations because we have to hold people accountable.
Absolutely.
Right? Every employee of the agency signs, for example, the Official Secrets Act.
Yes.
Right? The confidentiality is one of our core values, and all our officers, our workers, know that we are, of course, subject as well to the Data Protection Act.
Yes.
So where there's a breach, we have to investigate so that those who are responsible can be sanctioned. But and in some instances we have non-disclosure agreements or confidentiality agreements. But our staff members are subject to both the acts and the various agreements with the agents. And as I mentioned, confidentiality is one of our core values. So where we identify that there's a breach, we take it very, very seriously so that persons can be held accountable.
Very well. All right, Doc, talk to me a little bit about we talk about the children a lot, and they are the focus, but the family aspect of the CPFSA now comes into focus. What kind of remedial work or therapy sessions do parents get or need, or you organize for them? Because it's one thing to remove the children from a particular residence that may be experiencing certain things, but as you rightly said, the CPFSA, the government doesn't want to keep them forever and ever. So how do you then, or what modalities do you have at the CPFSA to then now help the parents to be fit and proper so that they can take back their children?
So we do a number of things. Parenting training is one key component of the program. So we provide opportunities for parents to learn and to improve on their parenting skills as well. I mean, we recognize that there is no manual. Most persons who become parents weren't necessarily taught, and they're learning as they go by. So we try to equip them with skills to make them better parents.
Yeah.
In terms of providing therapy, we not only treat with children, but in many cases, we invite the parents to come in so we can have family therapy sessions. It's not easy, Mrs. Kuti. It's not easy because...
Why not? Why not, though?
Parents have to go to work, so we get the excuses all the time. If they come, sometimes they have to miss a day to go to a therapy session, and that missing a day means missing a day's pay. You know,
yeah, but it's a child.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it is not always easy to get them done. But we try to work with parents as best as possible. So we do those things, and we also create opportunities for families to bond. You know, so we especially if a child is in a facility, we encourage the parents go and visit, spend time with the child, and so on. But the sad truth is that there are many parents, once the child is in a facility, they probably visit 1 or 2 times, and that's it. Right? Wow. So, so we try to support the families, the parents, as best as possible.
And you have therapy for the children as well?
Pardon me?
Therapy for the children as well, the ones who would have been removed? Because I can imagine that a child being taken away or removed from mommy and daddy can also be very traumatic for them. They're in a new space, they don't know the people, oh my God, what's going on? Does the CPFSA provide therapy for the children also?
Yes, man. So we've always provided therapy for children in our care. And we're, in fact, pulling out a new division. So we just recently recruited a new director of therapeutic services and psychosocial support. So it's a whole new division aimed at providing mental health services to children and families. So we take it very, very seriously. And as you rightfully said, we recognize that a child who went through a traumatic experience is doubly traumatized by the removal.
Yes.
Because, you know, Kitty, when a child is being abused, physically abused by the mother, for example, and we remove that child and place the child in a facility, who do you think the child cries for?
Mommy.
The same mother, the same mother, right? Yeah. So we acknowledge that those bonds exist, and the aim is not to break them, but to repair, to restore, where and strengthen them where that is needed. So yes, once a child comes into our care and is in need of that kind of mental health support, we ensure it is provided.
Some persons are of the view that the CPFSA is doing a very good job. It's doing an outstanding job. And as a matter of fact, this is what we needed from back in the 80s and 90s, or many of us would not have had a lot of the scars and trauma that we have now. Some, though, have said that CPFSA are demand, they just want to take up people pitney, and they are targeting only some people, and so it is selective outrage and only selective removal. What do you say to both sides?
Well, I mean, if you look at, let me look at the selective outrage first of all. If you look at our data, the majority of children that are removed, the majority of children that come into our care, are not from social media or things that are in the public. It's through our routine activities to safeguard the nation's children. So that thing about selective outrage, right off the bat, I can say that's not true. In terms of, we have made significant strides over the last 20 years, I can tell you. Since we enacted the Child Care Protection Act and are fulfilling our commitments under the Convention on the Rights of the Child, we have made significant steps to work in the best interest of the nation's children. Yeah. But we recognize that, people say this is what we need, and that is true. We have always needed this. But we recognize that it's still not perfect. And we're always looking at what is the next thing that we need to do. One of the things, for example, we recognize that institutional care is not the best kind of environment for a child. So while we use institutions, facilities now, we remove them from their homes and place them in facilities, that's because that's how the system is set up now, and that's because we don't have, for example, as many people willing to be foster parents and that kind of thing. But we are working on changing that. So we're working, for example, on making our foster care program more attractive, making it better. We're doing that. We're also working on our care reform initiative. So we're trying to deinstitutionalize. Deinstitutionalize by one, keeping children at home as much as possible, keep them at home and provide the resources to them in the homes. Where children are removed, look at foster care options, look at adoption as a real viable option.
I was coming to that. You preempted me there. Talk to me about that, because I know the CPFSA also facilitates adoption, and a lot of people, who want to adopt a child, what are the prerequisites? How does one go about looking to adopt a child?
All right. So to adopt a child, on our website we have the adoption application forms. Just download the package. Get the medical form completed, all the information we ask for, submit that to us. Once you submit that to us, then you are on what we call the adoption list. You are waiting for a child to be free or to be made available, to be matched with you. Over the years, what has happened is that we have always had more persons requesting children than we have children available. And that's why
in Jamaica?
Yeah, and that's for a number of reasons. One, our adoption legislation is from 1958, and I know the government has made some commitments to have it revised, right? So we are waiting on those processes.
Yes.
A child may be in the care of the CPVC, but the child does not have, or let me put it another way, the child cannot be adopted. The child has parents, right?
Right.
Maybe
well, not relinquish the rights.
Right, that's what I'm going to say. So as parents, maybe the parents have not been actively involved in the child's life, as much, but the parents have not relinquished their rights to the child. Now, in those cases, we have to prove to the court that the parent is unreasonably withholding their consent to the child's adoption. And that is not an easy process. It's not easy to prove to the court.
Absolutely. And rightly so, because when an adoption goes through, the paternal and maternal parents the parents lose all the rights. So it's as if all the rights. So the adoptive parents have stepped into the shoe of the parent themselves.
Right.
Can persons from overseas adopt, Dr. Thompson?
Yes, they can. So we have, I believe, 12 scheduled countries at the moment that children can be adopted to. So majority of the children who are adopted overseas go to like Canada, the US primarily, right?
Okay.
But there are 12 countries. Don't quote me on the number, but I believe there are also countries that are on the schedule.
What age range children do you have to be adopted?
So, majority of persons want babies.
Yes.
And, we don't always have babies. Where we have a baby that's a clear-cut adoption is if the baby was abandoned. So the baby was abandoned.
Thank you for watching.